Hey everyone, Justin here from the Hearing Aid Docs. I'm here today to do my review on the Naída 9 hearing aid from Phonak. I've been wearing this hearing aid for about 2.5, 3 weeks now, and I have some information on it. I'd like to reiterate some points though before I get into that. The first thing is I'd like to talk about my hearing loss. I have a moderate to severe dropping to profound hearing loss in my left ear, and I wear a cochlear implant on my right ear. So this greatly affects my review on the Naída 9 hearing aid. And I tried my best just to kind of wear the hearing aid alone a little bit and get some information on that for you guys, as well as I wore with my implant. And I actually talked with Phonak and some of the representatives there on the phone when programming the hearing aid, and they kind of guided me a little bit in how to program the hearing aid to get some more equal balance between both sides. Talk about the look of the hearing aid, okay? I have a black one right here. As you see, there's some buttons here and right here. This is the programming button, and this is the volume control. They're pretty big buttons and easy to feel, so dexterity, issues shouldn't be a problem with this hearing aid. Just below the volume button here is the battery door, which is pretty easy to open, and the hearing aid battery falls right out. There's also a little diagram, as you can see, of how to place the battery inside the hearing aid. So it's pretty easy to use in that regard. And of course, it looks pretty sleek. It's pretty neat. It's not too big, and it's a pretty powerful hearing aid for the amount of hearing loss I have, and did a pretty good job. They also make an ultra power. This is the super power. And that has a 675 battery, and my expectancy with that would be maybe a little bit more power as well as a little bit longer battery life. But other than that, these are pretty much the same hearing aid. So let's talk about some of the pros of this hearing aid. Cosmetics-wise, it's a pretty appealing hearing aid. I had no issues with the way it looked and how it blended into my hair. As you can see, that's my implant. Here's my hearing aid. So it looks pretty good. The telecoil in the hearing aid was really good. It worked well. Although my understanding ability is not the greatest on that side, talking to somebody with a familiar voice such as my wife, I was easily able to understand her and follow the conversation, with a couple times asking her to repeat herself. As far as the options go for this hearing aid, there were a couple that I tried out. I tried out the ICOM, which is a Bluetooth streamer, and I tried out the MyPilot, which is Phonak's remote control for this hearing aid. Okay, let's go over the MyPilot real quick. This is a MyPilot. I'm turning it on here with the power button that's on the side. As you can see, it's got a color screen, and right on the front screen you notice it says auto, so it's in my automatic program, which I used in the hearing aid. And I really didn't put any manual programs in the hearing aid, but the manual programming is pretty easily accessible. As well as you'll see the volume control, which can actually be adjusted with this device. So it's really nice that you can actually, if you're wearing two hearing aids, adjust both hearing aids at the same time. The hearing aid also has the ability built in, if you press the program or the volume button on the hearing aid itself, will actually communicate with another one if you have one on the other side. So for me, the remote didn't really benefit me too much because I only had one, so it's pretty easy to manipulate here. But if somebody with dexterity issues, if they only have one, this is definitely a nice remote control. It's got a lot of big buttons on it, and there's a lot of other options on it as well. Okay. For somebody with two hearing aids, this might be beneficial as well, just because they can make one change on the hearing aid itself, and or on the remote, and it'll change both hearing aids. The other thing about this is you can actually use the side buttons here to actually control one hearing aid versus the other, which is another nice feature that sometimes you can't do when you have the hearing aids communicating with each other. So also, I tested out the ICOM, which is a Bluetooth streamer. I did a video on this device, kind of an introductory video, and this was probably my most favorite part of this trial period, was this ICOM. I've been wearing hearing aids since I was 4 and have never experienced anything like this. This actually, I connected to my iPhone, and the sound from the iPhone was streamed to the iCom, and then that was streamed up to my hearing aid where I could actually hear the music on my iPhone, as well as talk on the phone, answer phone calls, and things like that. It was really pretty easy to use with this big button. It was pretty seamless once you understand how it works. So I really like this iCom. This is probably my favorite accessory that phonak has. As far as battery life goes for this hearing aid, this was another pro. The battery life on this hearing aid, I wore my hearing aids on average of 16 hours a day, and the battery lasted 8 days. So that's pretty good considering I do stay up most of the day. 16 hours is a long time in one day, and for the hearing aid to last a full week with the amount of power that I need out of it, I was pretty impressed with the battery life of this hearing aid. Some cons about this hearing aid, I really didn't have many. There were some features in the hearing aid that I feel like maybe I wasn't able to appreciate because of the amount of hearing loss I have, whereas I feel like maybe other people with a little less hearing loss might be able to benefit from it. I did try something called the SoundRecover feature within the hearing aid, which basically compresses the high frequency sounds into a region where it's supposedly more audible for somebody with a pretty significant high frequency hearing loss. I think that people with mild to moderate, normal or mild to moderate low frequency hearing and having a pretty severe high frequency hearing loss might be able to benefit from this feature. But in my case, because of the amount of hearing loss I do have, I couldn't really tell the obvious benefits from it. And so I want to reiterate, it's not necessarily a con, probably because it's just my situation and my hearing loss that affect this, but it was a con in the regards that I wasn't able to really test it out for you guys and try it. Another con would be maybe some of the options that are available with this hearing aid. Because it is Bluetooth, I didn't really get to get some benefit from those as well. Like I said, using the MyPilot, because I have one hearing aid, I didn't find it, that I needed it. It wasn't, totally beneficial all the time for me. But I, do appreciate the iCom. I sometimes wish I didn't have an implant and just had 2 hearing aids so I could appreciate it more. But when I did use it, I was really fascinated with how well it worked and how well it transmitted users as well. So again, hope this is beneficial. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.